Gamescast. I am your co-host, Nick Burton, online editor now, along with Roshni.
Hello.
Print editor. How's it going, Roshni?
It's going alright?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You feeling good?
Yeah, got some good articles up online already.
Yeah, we have from EGX, yeah. And this podcast is going to be much more regular this term after the long summer break and the 3 we put out last year. It's going to be much better this year, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
It will be. We've got a lot of people interested in the section as well.
Yeah, and we can pull in some new faces for like interviews later on maybe.
Yeah. Did I say Redbrook Gamescast?
Yes.
Good. That's a good start. So if you didn't know, this is Redbrook Gamescast. So this is the University of Birmingham student newspaper gaming section podcast. That was great. I've never said that before. Okay, that was really good. We should have that as like a slogan, do you know what I mean? Rashni's laughing too much to say anything. Okay, so.
Trying to work out what you're going to keep in and what you're going to edit out later.
I'm going to keep it all in now. It's all going in. Okay, so first topic of discussion this week. So this is the EGX 2017 special, but first of all, we're talking about breaking news at the moment. Red Dead 2 trailer. What do we think?
Looks cool.
Looks cool. You haven't played the first one, have you?
No.
Okay. So let's break it down. So why haven't you played the first one?
I had like a big chunk where I wasn't playing video games as much. It was just like DS and mobile games. So I played a lot of Animal Crossing, if you'd like to quiz me about Animal Crossing.
I love Animal Crossing.
I know, it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was a lot of work though, you have to admit. It was a lot of work.
Well, I played the DS one.
If you leave it for a little while, you have to come back and weed the entire island. You get money for weeding the entire island, but you have to weed the entire island, replant your flowers, and pay your back rent.
Right.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Unnecessary, perhaps.
I used to dig like the whole map, like every day, looking for items in the ground, and then like sell them and get rich and stuff. I don't know if that's how you play it. Anyway, off topic here. Red Dead 2, Roshni, Red Dead 2. So Red Dead Redemption, made by Rockstar, right?
Yep.
They've gone on to make such small games as GTA 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the next big game from them. What are we expecting? Like GTA 5 is pretty much the biggest game on earth right now. It's sold the most copies unless you if you discount Minecraft and Tetris. So it pretty much is the biggest game, right? Considering, was that?
Fine, it's like some notifications went off and I'm like,
oh, okay.
I've silenced everything. Why? Could something make noise?
It's fine. This is all staying in. No. Yeah. So this is the next big game from Rockstar. The last thing they did was, they keep updating GTA 5, but they've ported GTA 5 to Xbox One and PS4. So this is now the next big project from them. Have they had enough time, do we think? So GTA 5 was originally released 2013 on Xbox 360 and PS3, I believe. Is there enough time to make a new game within that time? Are we... It's looking like it's early 2018. Are we happy with that release date? Do we think that's enough time to make a big game, a big Western game? You know what I mean?
I mean, from the trailer, it looked like there was a lot of story to it. It doesn't look like a very simple game. It looks like it will have hours of play and it will be quite enjoyable. Yeah. Although again, this is my speculative opinion because I don't play it.
So you're not planning to play Red Dead 1 right now?
No, not currently. I'd have to go back and play the Red Dead 1. Okay. Red Dead 1 first before. That's what you just asked.
It's okay.
Yeah, no. But no, I haven't. No, not yet. I have far too many games to play. I think we actually have a segment on what we're playing.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So Red Dead 2 looks to be a prequel because it looks like it's the story of Dutch's gang and Dutch is in the first game and you're tracking him down because of blah 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 blah. But I want to say some things about the trailer, right? Because the second trailer, I want to say some things about the facial animations look amazing, right? And if that's like every interaction with every character throughout the game, that is amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's starting to get to the point now where every small interaction with characters in video games is just looking amazing. To the point where you're just like, I can't believe this is a game. And I know we always say that, and we've always said that, but I think it's really reached a new point now where a lot more than I used to, I am looking at the screen and just going like, I'm just gonna take 10 minutes and just look at this. Do you know what I mean? Like more than I used to. We used to look forward to cinematics, but now the graphics are so good, they basically are cinematics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like with games like Ratchet and Clank, they look like the new Ratchet and Clank on PS4. They look like Pixar films. So
they do.
Yeah. So also there looks like you're going to be robbing trains and banks, I think, which was a massive heist was a massive thing in GTA 5. Like, so every 10, 20 story missions in GTA 5, you'd rob a bank. It would be like a big event. That's a lot. You'd rob something. The bank's the last one. It's really good if you pick the right option. So I think they're keeping that theme. The script is probably going to be amazing. GTA 5 might be the most, I'm going to say most well-written, best well-written game. Most well-written game. I don't know which one of them's right. Most well-written game. Whatever. It's a really well-written game. And Red Dead 2 looks to be like that as well. I think you're playing a villain by the looks of things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This Morgan guy, I don't know his name. I can't remember his name.
I don't know, like from the trailer it felt like someone had been pushed into the life of villainy for the reason that like they've been forced.
Sure.
Like the guy who's doing all this like bank robbery, from the trailer it feels like that wasn't where he was planning to go in the first place. Right. But that is where he's going now.
Right.
He has no choice.
Right.
And I feel like there might, if that's the case, then there will be those options of I don't like sneakily make choices that other people won't realise and that are not as evil as everyone had hoped.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like there could be a conflict if there is that sort of I wasn't pushed into this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
I was pushed into this, rather.
I mean, I think that could mean a lot of players sympathise with the character if that is the case, because that is basically John Marston's story. Like, it kind of started out like a rebel. John Marston was the main character of the first game. He started out like a rebel, and then he gets put on this path that maybe he doesn't quite want to be on, and then eventually that's kind of why he gets out, because he realises that they're all kind of scum. So maybe you start like that, right? But then you see the development of you becoming the villain, you enjoying robbing banks, robbing trains, killing people, killing cowboys and Indians, I don't know. And like, do you know what I mean? Maybe you see that develop, and then you end up being the kind of Dutch character who is just an asshole. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It looks really good though. It looks gorgeous, but I just want to play it. Yeah. So you're not gonna pick up Red Dead 2 until you play the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of games on my plate,
sure.
Because it seems like every time I go to places like EGX,
right,
I come home with like 10 more games to add to my library.
Yeah.
And then to make it worse, people keep putting things on sale, right. And you know how students are with sales.
Oh, absolutely. I literally, unless I'm doing a review for Red Brick games, I literally only buy games when they're discounted or on sale. I just can't afford new games. Like,
yeah, I just bought Overwatch last night for £10 off. And
on console?
No, on PC.
I thought you already played it.
No, I haven't played
fair,
it.
Yeah, fair.
And
£10?
Yeah, £10 off.
Oh, okay, so like 30 quid or something?
No, it's 20 quid.
That's good.
Yeah, and then I bought Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which was on my wish list.
Excellent.
For £14. That's 60% off.
That's bargain.
I was like, what?
So much to consume there, content-wise.
Yeah.
Really big game. Yeah, so... Okay, so I think, Roshni, you respect Red Dead 2 trailer.
Yeah.
You see the excitement.
Yeah, I can see the buzz.
You're an indie lover, but you can see the buzz.
Yeah, I can see the buzz. Like I am Red Brick's indie girl. I
sure.
do go if it's quirky and it's indie, and definitely if it's multiplayer, I am there.
Sure. To be fair, so I only played Red Dead Redemption 1 like 3 months ago. I was catching up on my back catalogue. And this Red Dead 2 might be one of them games for me, even as a student, where I'm like, I might buy this brand new, like when it's first out. Like, obviously you have spoiler culture now at its peak, but also it's just one of them games where I just can't wait to play it, you know? I can't wait to get my hands on these characters. And I enjoy the Western environment way more than the modern day environment of GTA. That's like a fantasy for me. The Western environment and like modern day environment isn't a fantasy because it like you just go outside and it's there. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So it's not. Yeah, it's not a usual environment, and I think having another game like that because it's pretty much like when you think about it, Red Dead might be the best Western game ever made.
And I think the ones that are based more in history rather than present day have got more room to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So they can bring in the history of where they're based. So like a lot of games are now going back in time, like Call of Duties and Battlefield and all these games. Yeah. They're all going back in time because they can pull out all this historical knowledge, all these historical Easter eggs that they can feed into their games, and I think that could be an interesting addition, even though that the world of Red Dead is fictional. But I feel like
but
still
for
fit
sure
some
like areas Western, and things. Yeah, absolutely.
Western.
I wouldn't be
Easter
surprised
eggs.
if they, put in some factual stuff in that game for sure, like a train track or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm on board the Red Dead hype train for sure. After playing one, completely understand it. One of them games that really resonated with me. So I'm really looking forward to Red Dead 2. And hopefully it comes out, everything works, it's ready to come out. I don't give a damn if the online's not ready. I only care about the single player. I'm sure online will be great, but give me the single player, you know? And the single player for Red Dead 1 was so big anyway. It took me like 40 hours.
With the trailer looking that polished,
it did, didn't it?
I think there's a very strong possibility that Rockstar could bring that to the Paris Games Week, because that's another big gaming convention that's held internationally.
But now I'm wondering, do they even have demos of games that they have coming out? Because there's such a big studio. I don't think GTA 5 had a demo at game conferences, did it? I can't remember. I have no idea.
I don't know.
But I see what you're saying.
A lot of game studios do that, and it's just that interesting first taste. So it's a question of will Rockstar trust that the hype will sell the copies, or will they tempt fate and bring it to somewhere like Paris Gamescom?
Even add to the hype, almost. Yeah. Well, if it is a demo, it's literally going to be like, here's the mechanics in a town. Shoot some rats. Do you know what I mean? I can't imagine them doing any major missions whatsoever.
Yeah, like they'll compress it down to a very small demo.
Yeah.
Because as we've both seen at EGX, you want to try and keep the demos shorter.
Sure.
And get through many more people.
Yeah. Unless you see a Thieves, and then you have a half an hour demo for 10 people.
Yeah, and I think that rolls nicely into us transitioning into EGX.
Yeah, okay, sure. So, EGX 2017 discussion! Woo! This is exciting now. Okay, so me and Roshni went to EGX 2017 in Birmingham. That is the Eurogamer conference?
Yeah, the Eurogamer exhibition, which is why they put X in the end.
Right. 2017 in Birmingham. Roshni, this was your second year, third year?
Yeah, this is my second year. I didn't go on the first year that we started Red Brick Gaming. Actually, when we started Red Brick Gaming, EGX was at just the right time because it's actually in Freshers Week. So we used it as our launch pad. Right. So we were like, oh, we're a new section, and here's our coverage from EGX coming out as we're at EGX. And that was actually quite good. And I remember that year Tomb Raider came out. Well, Tomb Raider was being shown at EGX.
Rise of Tomb Raider?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And Ellie Patton covered that, and then Square Enix and the Tomb Raider pages on Facebook then shared the article.
Oh, that's great.
And she got floods of likes, reshares, views.
Yeah.
And we've kind of had good luck with EGXs since. So I've written a tweet on a Dishonored... I've written a tweet for someone else's Dishonored article, and that's been retweeted by Bethesda, the Dishonored, and the Arcane Twitter pages.
That's great.
And this year we've had the same sort of luck with stuff like Detroit and things like that.
Well, that's the start of your discussion, so you can leave that for just a second.
Yeah.
But, so EGX 2017, it's in Birmingham. 75,000 people came to last year's EGX. I had no idea it was that many people. I thought it was like 20,000. That's crazy.
Yeah, I overinflated the figures because I forgot how many people turned up, and I think at Gamescom probably a good triple that turn up.
Gamescom's massive.
I actually had the pleasure of going this year to Gamescom. Not on a press pass. I went with a friend, so I didn't take the press pass. But they're very good with press in the sense that they split them apart. So their business and press area is complete separate from Gamescom.
Right.
While the press do go into Gamescom because some of the games are there, a lot of the AAAs are kept on there's a separate screen for them.
Right. So they don't have to wait in
they don't have to wait in queues and things, and they don't have to go through the process of queue jumping. They can all play.
Right.
And
they'll provoke people.
Yeah, and they'll actually get to play some things that we don't. So I know that GameSpot got to play, I believe it was GameSpot, got to play Death of the Outsider from Dishonored.
But it wasn't on the floor.
It wasn't on the show floor, and Bethesda didn't turn up to EGX this year.
Right, well,
they sent Skyrim
on Switch.
They sent Skyrim on Switch and PSVR.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Bethesda didn't have their own booth this year, which they did have a really large booth last year.
Right. So, Roshni went for 4 days, Thursday to Sunday. I went Saturday and Sunday. My first ever gaming conference, exhibition, whatever. Blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Roshni, you're going first. You've got much more to say than me, I imagine. So, you've got a few things to say about EGX 2017. A few notes. So let's start, Roshni. What did you do at EGX 2017?
So Birmingham. I went and I thought I'd have to run from the front of the queue or somewhere in the queue to a AAA. Because that's usually how you get into the AAAs faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you'd be in an hour to 2 hour long queue. And actually at Gamescom the queues were 5 hours in places.
Okay.
And lucky for me, nobody had seemed to have heard of Detroit Become Human.
Right.
And I just strolled in and I was the second group in, which was excellent for me. And it was great. I really liked it. As we were saying earlier, the graphics for the games are just getting absolutely amazing. It felt very cinematic. And they had people like Brian Deckard doing the motion and voice animation for it. But literally, it could have just been him, because it was so clear. It was so clear, and he's put pictures on Twitter of all the dots they put on him to capture all the motion of his face. Yeah. And you can tell that it works.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just seamlessly blended in the cutscenes and the play, and you're able to just do your own thing without any cut to blacks or without really freezing in place for any cutscenes.
And is that what you're about to say?
To a point where I didn't even realise I was supposed to move. I started the game and I was like, okay, great. Now when do I go? When do I move?
Give me the play button.
I think I had to be prompted by the game to move because I could. Right. And it just slipped in. I had imagined that the whole beginning bit was cutscene, but really it was just a small little cutscene, and then that's it. You're in.
Yeah.
And I like the gameplay. I haven't actually played Heavy Rain myself, but I know it's very similar to how Heavy Rain works with the whole investigate, increase your chance of success, and really time is of the essence. So there was a timer to how long I had to find as many clues as I could to understand the hostage situation that my android character had been thrown into it, Connor, and I collected a few bits, did some action replays of people getting shot, and then I went and I stepped out on the balcony and I had to start picking dialogue options to speak to the hostage taker, which was quite fun. You could really see the branching plot there.
Wait, so what was the scenario? So
the scenario was a little girl had been taken hostage by the family android, and he was being dangled off the side of the building with him.
Right.
And he was threatening to jump.
Right.
So it was a typical hostage negotiation scene.
Right.
Except the android had already killed a few people and injured many more.
Wait, so one android against the whole family sort of thing?
Yeah, one android against the whole of SWAT.
Oh, okay.
But obviously one wrong move and they'd both go over the edge.
Sure. Wait, so he's holding a little girl.
Yeah.
And a SWAT member.
No, he's holding a little girl, but he's killed several SWAT members. Like when you see the top-down view, you can see someone's like dead in the swimming pool.
Right. Okay.
On the rooftop.
That's so cool.
And as you come up, there's actually someone injured, and you have to decide between. So you go to assist them, but you get told you can't.
Right.
So you can either disobey him, which could result in him not trusting you.
Yeah.
And reducing the chance of success.
Right.
Or do as he says and increase the chance of success.
And it's absolutely up to your judgment.
It's absolutely so. At one point, there was a choice of you could pick up a gun inside the house, but you were told that androids are forbidden to carry guns. So there's a gun inside the house, and it tells you that androids are forbidden to pick up to carry weaponry, and it's up to you whether you want to pick up or hold the gun. And then later on, when you're asked whether you are carrying a gun, you can either tell the truth or a lie. Now, obviously, either way, like one of them's gonna like.
But you might need a gun later.
Yeah, you might need a gun later. So you kind of picked it up. Like, what if you told the truth or you lied? It's just really like confusing. Like.
Yeah. So you're playing Connor the android.
Yeah, Connor the android.
Negotiator for the SWAT team.
Yeah. That's so his job is to hunt down bad androids. Basically.
Oh, this is Blade Runner.
It's
excellent.
Yeah, Connor is the guy from Blade Runner.
Right.
And he is there to grab and get rid of bad androids.
Right. So no matter what you do in this situation where the guy's holding the little girl, he is going to kill him or get rid of him or something.
Yeah. So that android has to go.
He's out of here.
You
can't survive. Right.
That android has to go.
Right. Okay.
If you've watched the trailer, because there's 3 playable characters and they've released trailers for each of them. Showing,
I haven't even seen these trailers. I try to keep...
So showing one of the missions from each trailer.
Okay.
So from each character. And the mission that's shown for Connor is the same mission I played.
Yeah.
And in that mission you can see the various different endings. And in each of the endings that came out successful, well, even the ones that didn't come out successful, that android is dead.
Right. Okay.
It's up to you whether...
So there are still story points which they stick to, right? Like
whether... Because, like... They couldn't let the android survive. Like, the android had gone against its programming. There's no human that would allow the android to survive.
Right.
Like, an android would be like, oh, well, it's inhumane, right? An android that's broken its programming will go, it's inhumane to kill another android.
Yeah.
Like, you should treat them like humans. But no human is going to turn around and go, oh, we'll protect the android. Which is kind of like stepping on political lines, sort of. But, yeah, so either the android takes the little girl with them, or the android dies alone, or like there are various scenarios. Like there's one where Connor saves the girl but sacrifices himself. Connor doesn't save him at all. Connor saves the girl, keeps himself safe, but then SWAT takes the shot at the deviant android.
Right.
So there's a mixture of different ways of it can go.
Sure.
I unfortunately didn't save her because I didn't give in to his demands at the end. Like he was like, oh, I want to escape here. I want the helicopter and all that jazz. And I was like, no, you're not getting out of here.
Right.
You've just killed 2 people and you're dangling a little girl off the edge.
So you showed a bit of cowardness. So you were just like,
I was like, be rational.
Yeah.
Please give me the girl.
Yeah.
You know how this is going to end out. And he was like, no.
Wow.
I know, and I could, like, if I'd been faster, I think I could have pulled her hand out.
Did you miss the button?
Yeah, I missed it.
Right.
It happened. The same thing happened in Dishonored. I just finished Dishonored a couple months ago, and I did the exact same thing. I didn't realise I could step out and save Emily.
Right. Oh, spoiler! Massive spoiler. It's fine. Don't worry.
So yeah, I just didn't move.
Wait, is this Dishonored 2?
No.
Oh, okay. Which one?
Dishonored 1.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Who cares? It was out years ago. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, and also you know that she survives because there's not a second game
with her in it. Yeah, fair enough.
But like obviously the whole game of Dishonored is to save Emily.
Yeah, sure.
And I was just there not realising that I could step out and grab her, and the guy just went over the edge with her, and I was like, you what? What do you mean this is the end?
What did I do?
Then it was like high chaos end at the end of Dishonored 1, and I was like, oh my god, What have I done?
So Detroit sounds great. It was the next game by Quantic Dream.
Yeah.
Who made Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
Both very narrative games with basically only quick time events, right? So you're just using the buttons to kind of in actions. Like you're not really. It's not a shooter or anything like that, or a third person. It's all story based. You're either choosing dialogue options, or you're basically doing quick time events, right? And it looks the same here. I'm wondering. I haven't played it, but I'm wondering. I'm looking forward to it. I think I like Beyond Two. I love Heavy Rain. I like Beyond Two Souls more than most. But I did see it in chronological order, or play it in chronological order. So, but this one I hope ups the benchmark after Until Dawn, which is a game very much in that same pattern, right? Which is the horror one with the teenagers on PS4, and it was a fantastic game. So I'm hoping that they like have saw that game and been like, okay, we need to do much better. You know, story needs to be like way better, needs to be more gripping. But if it's an Android thing, it's going to be really interesting. Yes. They're going to play with like what's human, what's Android, like absolutely.
So actually, they built this very quickly. So they
Detroit?
They showed it as it originally started with Kara. It was supposed to be like a fun tech demo of showing what they could do.
Right.
So they did like a little demo video which they showed to people in Paris Games Week in 2015. And now and then people just kept asking them, well, what happens to Kara next? Where is the rest of Kara's story?
Right.
And that's where Detroit grew out. Right. And considering now that it's coming out in 2018.
Yeah, probably late 2018, I'd say.
Probably later in 2018, but they have built it very quickly. Especially if you've got playable demos that were playable from E3
this year.
Yes, this year.
Yeah.
So
did it? Oh, I'm getting confused with my E3. Yeah, no.
So E3 was in like.
No. I'm wondering if it got announced this year as well. I think it did, didn't it?
No. It was announced in
2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's playable this year.
Yeah.
And it had 5-hour queues at Gamescom.
Right. So you were like, "What's the big deal?"
Yeah, what's the big deal? And I went to play it, and I was so happy that I got to play it without having to stand in some really long queue. And
yeah, absolutely.
It was good. It was amazing. I really liked it.
So next game or whatever you got on the list. What have you got next?
Forgotten Anne.
This is an indie game, Roshni.
Yes, okay. It is one of my indies. I do play AAAs, but I tend to stick to the indies. Like AAAs, which I either need to catch up on, or maybe like they sound really cool. Maybe I play them.
Yeah.
But indies are my thing.
Is this the story one? I think I saw the booth for.
So Forgotten Anne actually got announced last year at EGX.
Okay.
We were there. We got to play it, and both of the developers both of the lead developers were there that day.
Is it just 2 people making it, or is
it's a team now? But at the time they had 2 developers showing it off. And it's it feels like an anime. Like it feels like you've stepped into a Studio Ghibli film.
Right.
And they're very good at keeping out cut to black cut screens.
Right.
There was this demo, which they've redone since last EGX, but on the whole, there's no cut to black, and it's just one free-flowing film.
What is the game? Is it walking simulator? Like what is it? Give me the what do you call it? The quick summary of Forgotten Anne.
It's a 2D adventure platformer.
Thing. So it's a platformer. 2D.
Kinda. It's all side scrolling.
Yeah.
But like obviously you can move back and forth on the side scroll. And it's really interesting in that it's just flows. There is no cut to black. There's no.
Right. So there's no cutscenes. It's just...
no, there's no cutscenes. When it does stop for actual like dialogue to come in.
Yeah.
There is no like cutout or anything. So it just flows really nicely. You have to go through all the doors. You see her go through the doors and everything.
Are you controlling Anne?
Yeah, we're controlling Anne. It was really good because they've simplified some of the game features and they made the demo longer.
Okay.
So it's really quite enjoyable.
So you're controlling Anne?
Yeah.
What is the game about? Is it the process of somebody forgetting? Are we in someone's mind where we're forgetting them? Like what are the enemies? Like give me some info. Like
so it's called Forgotten Anne because she's in the realm of forgotten things. So if you've ever lost a sock and forgotten
That's
about
such
it.
a great idea.
That is where your Forgotten Sock is.
In the Forgotten Realm?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
All of my forgotten hair ties and my lost hair ties will be there.
Me, you both. Me, because I've got long hair as well, so yeah. Oh my
so
days.
all my hair ties are there,
yeah.
along with all the socks I've ever lost, scarves, cushions, anything you've ever lost or forgotten is there.
Great idea, great concept.
Along with 2 people.
Just 2?
Well, for now, just 2 that we know of.
Okay.
2 people who have been forgotten. And now they're working on a way to get out.
So are they dead? Is that why they're forgotten? Right, because it's hard
no.
How do you forget someone if they're alive?
Well, there's plenty of ways to be forgotten, it's your life.
But like, to be in a forgotten realm, don't you have to... Doesn't every single person have to forget you exist then? Right? Is that the idea?
Pretty much. Like, as in, like, there's no one to, like, care. Like, for instance, if I lose my sock...
Yeah.
I've forgotten that I've lost it and that's it. Like,
okay.
It only matters about me forgetting it because it was my thing. Like, if you lose a parent and there's no other family, then in theory, no one's... Like, if you lost all your friends and family and you're completely orphaned, then in theory, everyone's forgotten about you too. So you're kind of left at the back of the park.
Sure.
And I feel like that is Anne's story from the trailers. That's what I'm picking up. Like, that's kind of Anne's story. She's been forgotten. She's been at the back. No one really cares about her, despite the fact that she's all alone. And she found herself back at in this forgotten land, and she's found someone else who's been equally forgotten, and the 2 of them are working together to make this bridge home back to the human realm.
Okay.
Except some people don't want to follow the rules. So I say people, but some forgotten things don't want to follow the rules.
Right.
And there's like a rebel faction going on, destroying things.
Right.
So these
in the Forgotten Realm.
In the Forgotten Realm.
Right.
And I don't fight any of them, so I don't know anything concrete about how that sort of stuff's going to work.
Who's this other person? Can you tell if they're male or female? Or...
so we call him Master Bonku.
Master Bonku.
Yeah.
Are they Japanese developers? Or is it like in a Japanese style game?
Well, it's a Japanese style game.
Right. Because for some reason, because you're talking about the Forgotten Realm, I think everything's quite dark and black.
No, it's all like really vibrant and well coloured. Like it feels like a Studio Ghibli film.
Right.
That is literally the first thing we said when we saw it. Okay. Last year.
Well, like you know, Ni no Kuni. Yeah. Ni no Kuni 2 was there this year. That has Studio Ghibli people working on that game. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, I
think that one looked quite good as well. I've not played the first one, so I didn't go too close to that one. But
I played it, so we can talk about that later if you want. But yeah. So we've gone down. Sounds really cool. Yeah. Next thing.
Oh My God Heads, which I've protected and loved from the
Oh My God Heads.
Yep. Right. It's my one. It's almost like I have like a list of games where I've met them at the first EGX I've ever been to, or a subsequent one, and I've just like protected them. Right. Like if anyone tries to slate them, I will attack them. Well, I won't attack them, but like I'll be trying. I'll debate with them to explain why they're wrong.
Okay. Sure.
So like Overcooked was one of those games, and now
Overcooked's fantastic.
Overcooked is massively popular, and that was built by 2 developers. So if anyone's like, oh, it's not.
I hope they're dirt rich, by the way. That's a great.
They've got 2 BAFTAs, which is great. So I was so proud they'd got 2 BAFTAs.
Yeah, I think that shows that if you make a great game, people will buy it.
Yeah,
and notice it. I really do. Like.
Yeah, it's on the Switch now as well.
Right. Which would be a great game on the Switch. For
yeah,
sure.
It is definitely a great game on Switch.
So Oh My God Heads, what is it? Tell me all about it.
So basically, it's got lots of like it's full of mini games sort of thing, but it's like the original premise was you've got to. It's almost like capture the flag, but except you're capturing a godhead and you've got to take it back to your altar. You work in teams of 2. It's a 4-player game, and each of the godheads have different properties, and obviously all the places they've chosen from around the world, and they've chosen heads from mythology and places around the world. So they'll have like a location in Egypt, and it'll be like all like desert scened and stuff, and like pyramid scened, or they had one in Scotland, which was quite funny, or all these different like stages.
Yeah.
And then all the different heads. So like they'd base them off different mythologies and things like that, and they'd take the actual mythology into the thing. So there's a head called Zeus. Mm-hmm. And while you're holding it, it can zap people with lightning around you. Okay. So if someone comes too close to swipe you, they could accidentally get zapped by lightning, and you can carry on scot-free. Right. And take it back to the god. Or There's one that blows up if you hold it for too long. It goes red and then blows up on you.
Okay.
So you don't want to be holding that one for too long. There's ones that are really heavy.
So sorry, these aren't. This isn't by the same makers as Overcooked, is it?
No. Different.
Yeah. Just checking.
And yeah, it's really a lot of fun, and people get really competitive, and it's just a real laugh.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just a great co-op.
It's just a great co-op game,
and couch game. It's good.
Like, it's definitely one of my ones that I want to protect, and like
yeah.
If people are like, oh no, I don't like that game, I will debate with them,
right,
very rationally about why they're wrong,
right.
Because they are.
Did some people say that Overcooked was bad then? Because everyone I know,
I think some people were expecting a higher quality game, like a much higher quality, not realizing how humble its beginnings were.
Right.
And actually, when you think of that, it was only 2 people working on it.
Yeah.
And some of it was done in their spare time because obviously they hadn't fully committed over to it.
Yeah.
It does make it a lot more impressive, but until they find out, find out that it was only 2 people, they're happy to it's like people are happy to say horrible things about AAA games that have not met the mark.
Right.
And then sometimes they'll forget that some games that are indie that have made almost. But
I mean, the game works, right? Yeah. It works. There's no bugs and glitches or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, to complain about the core game, I'm like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, like you say, if it's by 2 people and it works and the game is fun, it is objectively fun. Then
it is so much fun.
It's so fun. Yeah. So what's the last thing you've got on your?
I did. So I played a lot of indie games.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
If I listed them all,
we'd be here till next week.
Yeah. Yeah. And our venue would close on us.
Wow. Yeah, it would. Yeah. Well, the library is 24/7, but.
I don't think it is.
Spoiler: we record in the library
currently.
For now.
So the only other big thing I did was I went to see esports, because at EGX this year there was the ESL Arena, huge bit of space taken up by on the EGX show floor. It was at the far back of all the hangar space that they'd taken up, or the hall space they'd taken up rather.
Yeah, in the far right corner.
Yeah,
as it kind of goes. Yeah,
they did a lot of battles there. So stuff like CS:GO, which they did last year, but
so Counter-Strike, Go tournament, League of Legends tournament?
League of Legends was there.
Street Fighter was a big one.
So Street Fighter had its own area, and that was really impressive.
As did Overwatch, right? Or
Overwatch had its own area too.
Street Fighter ones were really fun, by the way.
Yeah,
really
so I actually went to see Street Fighter.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
Yeah,
some of the players were just so skilled. They'd all been signed for esports team. There was a good match between someone from the UK, top player of the UK, and top player from Japan.
Right.
He'd come all the way from Japan.
Right.
And we were all of us were cheering for the guy from home.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. There was such close battles as well.
I saw a really close battle as well. Yeah.
And it could go either way, and it was just amazing when he won it. And the entire area around it was just absolutely cheering. And we were laughing as well, because we were like, this guy's come all the way from Japan, and now he's gonna have to go home.
Butt kicked.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go home empty-handed. Yeah. We had just been saying how the guy from China, for a previous match, was demanding that he didn't go empty-handed, and he completely went at the guy.
Right. And after the guy beat him.
No.
Oh.
No. As in, he beat that guy. He was not letting this guy win. He was like, I'm coming. When we were laughing, he's come all the way from China. There's no way he's gonna lose. And then this guy comes in next, and he's come all the way from Japan, and he's gone home empty-handed.
Yeah. Was it a grand? I want to say it was a grand winnings or something, but it was more about rankings. I don't really know esports, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think they did go away with a trophy at the end.
Right. But it was all the esports stuff was quite really cool if you like esports.
Yeah, I went to see the Splatoon 2 finals as well, which was quite interesting. And actually, it was very interesting to see. It was really cool, rather, to see that it wasn't. They'd won here, but it wasn't the end for them, because they'd actually won for a place in the European finals. So they hadn't known that. They thought they were just competing on the EGX stage, and that was it. Actually, they're now going to represent the UK.
Right.
And it was really cool. So I only saw the semi-finals and the finals, because that's what they did in the ESL Arena. And it was just, you could see the skill, and they were all quite young.
I've got to take it.
But they were really good.
Yeah. Well, I watched one match, and it was the final of two teams on the Counter-Strike. It might have been the final of the Counter-Strike Go tournament. And I swear to you, some of them players look 12, 13 years old. Like, I didn't... But then I was like, but how are they allowed to play this when the game's rated, like, 16 or something? Because, like, they wouldn't let people go in watching unless you were, like, over 18 or something.
Yeah, I saw
But then
that.
the actual players were, like... if I had to put money on it, I'd say they were, like, 13 years old, 14 years old. So I was just losing my mind. I was like, hold on. You can't go in and watch it, but they're allowed to play it and win money for it? Like, I don't know. It was weird. But esports is a whole thing that I've never really tapped into. It is massive. I still laugh when I think that people have jobs commentating on all of these different, like... Yeah. It's just a massive, massive industry that I have no idea... Like half the world doesn't know about, but then half the world is, like, crazy about. Well, less than half.
And it's growing. It's got a big figure added to it that people are estimating its worth. Right. And actually, some people do get paid quite a bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, like, people like train for esports, right? Like, some players just literally 12 to 15 hours a day just play the game to get better at it, to win competitions. That's just so mad to me. You know, it just I'll never be able to take games that seriously to compete at that level. They will be too much of a indulgence for me, like too much of a okay, I'm taking time out, right? Like I don't think I could ever make games my kind of priority in life, because they're always my time out, you know. And even when I'm on like holidays or whatever, and I get a few weeks to play games, I just feel so unproductive after a week of playing a game straight. Do you know what I mean? That I just couldn't do it full time. But that's just me. Yeah. But you liked esports? It was all good?
Yeah, it was really good. Like, the crowd was kind of really electric in the finals. Yeah. And I was so proud of the teams that are playing, and they were, it was really good.
That's cool, man.
I really enjoyed it.
That's cool. So, just to go through my EGX stuff quickly then. So, yeah, first ever gaming exhibition. Wow. So, the stands blew my mind. Like, you know, all the... I want to say stands. What would you really call them? Like booths. The booths are crazy. You know, you've got like, excuse me, like walled off areas with like 30 screens and stuff. And there was like a Drake, which is like a dragon from Middle Earth, right near the Shadow of War booth. There was a massive Destiny 2 booth. And if you're going to EGX to queue up for Destiny 2 for 2 hours, 2 weeks after it's come out, you need to sort your life out, mate, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That is just so weird. Why would you do that? I don't know. Anyway, so what did I play? So I'm going to start with the big boys and then work my way down to the small games. So the biggest game I got to play was Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm a massive hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. Like, I've played every single one. Not played the PSP and DS ones, but I've played Liberation. But massive hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. I think this one looks just absolutely amazing. It's a great location. It's a great character and sister, I think. I'm not quite sure, but he seems like a cool character. He reminds me of Altair. I love Altair. It's the origins of the Brotherhood, which is great. Yeah, so I got to play it. It was like a 20-minute demo. The queue wasn't that long. On the last day, Sunday, which is when I played it, the queue was probably about an hour for the whole day. So because they had so many screens and stuff. So yeah, so quickly going to this demo, bloody hell. So I think it might have been half an hour, but it felt like 20 minutes, but I was having quite a lot of fun. So I'm like strolling in from the desert on my horse, and I go into this town, and this priest, the town, by the way, was great. Like, you can see people doing their crops, and you hear like Egyptian music and stuff. It was amazing. And then I go down, this priest beating this guy over the head, and he's like, you've done wrong. And I was like, mate, you need to calm down. What's going on here? And then the boy was like, oh, this priest says I've stolen golden statues, but they just sunk in the ocean or something. So then I'm like, okay, priest, hold on. I'm going to go find these golden statues. And then you can beat the hell out of him. So I get on to this, like, there's a dock area where there's water, and I get on the boat, go to the boat, and then I use my eagle. So you just press a button and you get an eagle straight up in the sky, which you can use to, like, surround the, like, look over the area and stuff. I use the eagle to find the gold in the water, and then I go dive into the water. Oh my god! Assassin's Creed 4. Find the treasure. Return back to the priest. I'm like, priest, this guy's telling the truth. You need to let him go. So the priest runs off like a complete coward after bashing the boy in the head. At which point I thought he died, by the way, but he didn't. And then the boy was like, oh, thank you, man, all that. So, like, rewards, whatever. And then I'd done a few more things. Like, I took out, I'm just going to say, the one of the people there, you know, helpers, he saw me, he came over and saw me. I might tell the story another time, but he came over and saw me just as I was doing a takedown, and he was like, mate, that was the best takedown I've seen all week. And I was like, that is exactly what I'm talking about, mate. Yeah, so it was really good. It felt like Assassin's Creed. It had so much on the map. I looked in the menus quickly because I was intrigued, and you had all the inventory stuff. You had a skill tree that was big. It was all looking very Assassin's Creed-like, but, you know, worked upon. The control layout was quite different. There was no run button. You just move forward, and there was like a crouch button for sneak. The main attacks are on your triggers, which is slightly weird. You have a bow and arrow again, which is great. You've obviously got tools and things as well. Like I put down a smoke bomb. So yeah, it was really great. Can't wait for it. Absolutely can't wait. It looks like the first Assassin's Creed, which I'm probably going to lose my mind into, which is what happened to me with 4, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, where I just, for a week straight, just played that game. A week straight. It took me a week. Massive game. So I think Origins is going to be the same like that, and I can't wait for it. Yeah, any questions on that, Roshni? Did I explain that all right? Roshni's nodding. Yeah, sure.
It sounds really good.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds really good. But don't expect anything like crazy. It's not reinventing the franchise. It's just doing exactly, I think, what players want. So that's what I want. So secondly, didn't play Shadow of War. Saw a 30-40 minute presentation on it. So one of the developers of Shadow of War was at the EGX Theatre and with the Q&A lady Ellie, I believe, I think her name is, and they played 40 minutes of it. So basically what they did was, if you're not familiar with Shadow of War, it's a sequel to Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. So you play as Talion, a ranger, and it's set in Middle-earth, obviously it's in the Mordor bit, but this sequel, it expands out to a few more areas in Middle-earth. And you're basically taking down Sauron's army. This time, there's a few more layers to what they call the Nemesis system, which means that you get unique captains and commanders and war chiefs that sort of very unique in terms of what they say to you, your interactions with them. They remember if they see you, if you scarred them with fire, etc., etc. It's a really great system. So you basically, it's a bigger, better Shadow of Mordor. It's like bigger. There's more layers of captains and war chiefs because you get commanders now, and I think the commanders have like forts which you try and take out, and it's like a whole massive thing where like you could storm off the fort with 3 or 4 captains under your command. And you could still get absolutely destroyed. You could walk in and because there could be like 10 more captains and like 2 more war chiefs in the fort, so you could get absolutely destroyed. It looked so fun to play. There was way more abilities. You looked like at the end of the game you become even more of a god than in the first game, because at the end of the first game you became so overpowered. It's magnificent. So it just looks like a bigger, better Shadow of Mordor. More to do. I can't wait for this game. I think if you have an issue with it and the microtransactions and this dev tribute, which you can go look that up, that's a whole other thing. If you have an issue with that, I would say to you, don't pre-order the game, don't participate in any microtransactions, and if you really want to, don't buy that DLC. It's all bad business practice on behalf, I think, of the publisher. Support the devs for making this game, because the first one was absolutely brilliant, game of the year by far. And this game looks to be just as good. And we should support developers who make great games, I think. I don't think we should shun these developers because they seem to have a bad publisher. I think we should support the developers for making what looks to be an excellent game. I'm going to be playing it like crazy. It's probably going to be the best Middle-earth game when you put it down to it. Like, the first one was one of the best ones, so hopefully it's as good as it looks, and I hope that it makes enough advancements that, you know, it makes a big impact still. You know, it's not, because when you play it and you played the first one, you think, like, I already know a lot of these mechanics, but hopefully there's a lot, you know, new mechanics so that it still feels a bit fresh. So yeah, also tried VR for the first time.
How did you find it?
Interesting experience. Okay, so just a bit of context quickly. I was really pessimistic about VR because I was like, I don't really believe in everyone wearing goggles over their face. I feel like that's just going to completely destroy social skills, and you know, you're going to have people completely in their own world for hours on end. And I was pessimistic about it. I played Skyrim with VR. It was pretty cool. It was the first experience I've had with games where I'm like, okay, this is the next step. I understand the fuss. But a few notes. The graphics weren't that good. I don't think they are in VR games right now. I did notice that.
Yeah, no, I think part of it is it's very difficult to make sure that you're perfectly centered with the game. Like, right. Whenever I put my head into VR, I'm constantly moving the headset.
Yeah, also, I was as well.
Also, I don't know what happens is every time I put a headset on, despite the fact that I've made sure that I'm not, like, I don't need to scratch my face. Every time I put the headset on, I immediately need to scratch my face near the headset too. So then I shake the headset about. I'm like, just got it right. Dang it, my face is itchy.
Right.
Every time. Yeah. But no, especially because I've got glasses, it makes it harder. I feel like if you...
I have glasses as well, by the way.
Yeah, so because we've both got glasses, it takes a little bit more adjusting.
It definitely felt like I was adjusting it more than most people.
Yeah.
Like, I put it on and I was like, oh, this is not right. Like, it's blurry because it's not in the center.
Yeah.
And then, like, I had to proper adjust it. And to be honest, it was only really good for the last half of the demo, which was a shame.
But I've had some really good experiences in VR.
Yeah.
At a past EGX, I've played some things on one of the games off VR Worlds.
Yeah.
I've played some other like indie games, and I actually played one by Endreams this time round, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's called Shooty Fruity.
And you have a great game.
It's multitasking in VR, which is it was a new concept, because usually when you're doing VR, you want to keep it to one thing.
Right.
And you got to watch what you're doing, because if you're like, I found like it was an interesting one that they had by Intel where they put people in VR for Project Cars, so which means all that movement, like you could genuinely see people getting sick. So like not really terribly ill, but like people were coming out needing water after it, because it's just all that motion. Anyway, in Shooty Fruity, you're multitasking. So you're a checkout clerk, but also you're
in a supermarket.
Yeah, you're in a supermarket and you're being attacked by fruit.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So if you ever hated fruit before, great time to take out your anger. Grab a gun from grab a gun off the carousel that's coming round across your head, and then fire. And it was really nice. They were doing like an employee of the day whiteboard, and the top 5 on there would get a copy of the game, and that was quite interesting. And I really like not only playing it, because playing it was crazy, and I like it was just so much to do and so little time. And it was really interesting to watch other people play it as well, because some people were like on it, and some people were panicking me as well.
I saw a trailer for it right before my Shadow of War presentation, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Skyrim VR, I love Skyrim, but I don't think I could play that game for 300 hours in VR, if I'm being honest. The thing with VR that really got me, Roshni, where I was like, okay, I can see what's going on here, is that when you're facing forward and you use your flame attack, I'm like, this is sick. And then when I turned my head to the left and I saw the mountain was still there to the left, and then turned my head the other way and saw that, you know, the edge of the mountain I could see off into the far distance, I was like, now I feel like I'm in this world. Like when I turn my head and all I can see is this world, now I feel like I'm in this world. Or I look up to see the archer trying to shoot me from a high up ruined temple ruin thing. I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, this is crazy. When you're going downstairs and you look down and you can see all the stairs or whatever, like I'm like, yeah, all right, fair.
Yeah, VR can be very like. So I played a simulator for a rescue helicopter, and it told you to step out of the helicopter. Now, bear in mind, I'm on carpeted floor, but when I was in VR, I didn't want to step out the helicopter. It said step forward, take a step out the helicopter, despite the fact that I knew that, and the graphics weren't like high-pitched, like great graphics of water and the ocean.
Right.
But I did not want to step out the helicopter.
Right.
And I just stared at the screen for a while in VR.
Yeah.
And everyone outside is thinking, why is she not stepping out the helicopter? But when you're there, it feels like you're about to step.
It messes with you, doesn't it?
It does mess with you. It does.
Well, like at the end of the demo, spoiler, there was a massive spider, and I don't know if you all know, but the spiders in Skyrim are terrifying anyway, let alone terrifying in VR. So it came down, I was just like, oh, I can't do this. So I was just like trying to flame him and use my sword. It was a whole man. It was awful.
I actually had a friend
at me though.
I had a friend who I think she was watching someone play Resident Evil in VR, and she said that was like the scariest thing. I think I think she was playing it, and she was doing okay, and she was like her mistake I think was she assumed that the walls were safe,
right?
And then
the
walls,
right?
And then the next thing she knows, something comes out of the wall right in front of her,
right.
And that's it. She comes straight out. She's like, nope, too scary. Nope. I'm done now. I'm done. Done.
Yeah.
Heart palpitations. I'm done. And she left. And I'm guessing the developers were like laughing. Like the guys on the booth must have been laughing that day because that must have been like their 100th or 1000th person that they got at EGX.
Yeah.
To have that sort of like, nope. Done.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy, man. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy how immersive VR can be. I don't think like big longer games are suited for VR because I wouldn't want to be in them for the amount of hours that I would play on the console.
I didn't get a headache, but I felt like one would have generated if I was in there for much longer, if I'm honest.
But it's definitely good for those short mini games.
Yeah, for sure.
I really enjoy it for those like mini games or like a few levels, not big like story based type thing.
Yeah, I think we'll see how it develops. VR's got a long way to go. And last game quickly, Super Lucky's Tale. So this is it's not really an indie, it's being published by... Anyway, it's a small game.
Yes, it's a small game.
It's a very small game.
Microsoft supported it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they do. Yeah. They do actually do.
So Super Lucky's Tale is very much in the memoir of Spyro and Crash Bandicoot 3D platformer with a cute character, cute environments, very bright, very colourful. I had fun with it. It was fun. It itched a little bit of the collectathon thing within me, but not enough. You collect coins, but all they do is get you more lives. And I'd rather the coins be like, collect all the coins in the level. There was like, you had to get all the letters of lucky in the level and like a clover. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But I would have liked more collectibles. Especially if they mix them well with achievements, because I know collecting things and then having achievement pop is the most satisfying thing. And it's such a good cycle. It was fun. The gameplay wasn't quite as solid as I wanted it to be. I felt like if I kept turning like Super Lucky. If I kept turning him and stuff, it wouldn't feel that responsive. But they've got a few months, so I hope they sort of tighten that gameplay. Excuse me. The voice characters I would have thought would have been better if they were actually voice acted instead of just like meow 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 meow. So the cat just basically says meow over and over. I would have preferred voice actors do that, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I played at Gamescom. My friend was playing Age of Empires, the definitive edition, which looked great.
Right.
They'd really brightened it up. But Super Lucky's Tale was quite fun. Do you know whether it was one that I would like with a lot of games trying to get that nostalgia feeling out of us? Like last year it was Rayman.
Yeah.
No, was that right?
Yooka-Laylee?
No.
Well, Yooka-Laylee.
Well, Yooka-Laylee was.
Yeah.
And there was another one. The one they rebooted by Insomniac. That was Rayman, right?
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank. That's the one.
Yeah.
I wrote a piece on that and I've forgotten.
It's a great game. Really great game.
So all of these games trying to come back and grab the nostalgia of our youth, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I need to find one that I really like. Yes.
Sure.
That's the one I want to play.
Sure.
And I had the same thing. So I played Sonic Forces, which again was a reboot of like the
3D Sonic game.
Yeah, it was like a 3D Sonic
game.
Get
back in that.
And it was kind of interesting how they added like everyone in as voiceovers. So like, like with speech bubbles and things. So like people were talking to Sonic as he was running through the city, and I had to take out bad guys as I went along. That was fun, but like even that, like it doesn't bring back the same nostalgia as Sonic Adventures, which I played on the Dreamcast.
I think what we need is a 3D platformer that maybe gives us an overwhelming amount of nostalgia, but creates nostalgia for the future, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I think when you're playing certain games, you can almost tell that I'm going to think about this game in a nostalgic way. I'm creating the memories for myself as I'm playing it. A couple of games bring to mind that for me, which I've played recently: Shadow of the Colossus and Red Dead Redemption. Both of them games, I'm playing them, I'm like, I'm going to think about this game in a year's time. It's being that memorable for me right now. And maybe I think your point is that we perhaps felt like that when we were playing them when we were younger. Maybe we didn't. But these games, they're kind of riding on the nostalgia, but they're not... I'm not going to remember the Super Lucky Tale in a year's time.
Yeah. And like the same with Sonic Forces, like I will always... Like I've got one of the old Sonic Adventure games that they've kind of rebooted in Sonic Mania.
Right.
I've got that on my DS as a Game Boy Advance cartridge. So I play that and I remember that nostalgia of me playing it on the Dreamcast way back when. But I don't know, like I don't think I'm going to go out and buy Sonic Forces the first time as soon as it comes out. The same with Super Lucky Tale. It's not one of those games. Like I think if I find a good reboot of something that I really want to play. Yeah. Like I think I would have done it for Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank was a very nice game.
Yeah, it was.
And I've played that a few times now and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Super Lucky Tale was fun. The challenging bits at the end of the level or the demo were actually really well balanced for me. Like, you know, they weren't hard as far as challenges go, but they were just challenging enough where I was like, oh yeah, I got to think about this. And that's good for a 3D platform, I think, especially when it's aimed at kind of kids or people looking for nostalgia. I think I'm going to get it if the gameplay is really solid and it reviews quite well. If not, I am probably going to maybe stay away for a bit. But, you know, the rest of the game might have really good sections in it. You never know. I hope it's really good. But like you say, perhaps nostalgia isn't enough now.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So that was our EGX 2017 roundup. Didn't do too bad. Probably only took about 40-50 minutes.
Yeah. Which is going to get edited a little bit.
It'll get edited a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you want to say quickly, Roshni, before we say what we're playing now? Any last remarks? I'll just say quickly, if that's all right, that I think going to my first gaming conference felt like coming home. Yeah. It really did.
I kind of freestyled it this time, so I was a little bit lost in places because there was so much to do, and there is if you're gonna play the indies, there is so much to do. Yeah. So I kind of felt a little bit lost this time around, but when I went to Rezzed in April, end of March, I booked in lots of developer sessions where I'd just play the game and the developer would be like looking over my shoulder telling me about how they got to that game. Right. And that helped me structure my days better. So for 3 days I was just like playing games with developers all the way, and I'd have a little bit of time for myself, but mostly it was developer playing. Yeah. And that kind of structured it out, and I played a lot of games that way.
Meeting developers is great. Yeah. Really great.
But it was good. I had a friend for like on Sunday, so for like 4 hours, we kind of jumped from indie multiplayer to indie multiplayer, so I got a lot of games played then. And I think I saw quite a good range of games that were in development that were going to be multiplayer, which would be absolutely brilliant rather, in my catalogue of couch multiplayers.
Yep. Which there need to be more of, I think.
Yeah, because really couch multiplayers, like everybody's like, oh, everything should be online, and actually someone said Overcooked should be online, and I'm like, no, it should never be online, because Overcooked is made to sit next to the person on the couch and yell at them while they let your soup burn.
Yep. Like, yeah, it's like you're supposed to hate them.
Yeah, like I've heard the developers say that it gives them a nice warm fuzzy feeling inside when they can see a rift forming between players in Overcooked.
Right.
Because they
care about the game, right?
Like, they care about the game, but they've watched people at conferences time and time again, and they love it seeing that little rift turn up. Like, well, I thought you were my friend, but now you're not washing the dishes. What's going on? I have this soup and it's burning.
Why aren't you making the fish and chips right, Dave?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I think the one message I would like everyone to take away from my experience with VGX is, if you love a game and you ever go to a gaming conference, and like if you're like super shy or whatever, like that's cool, but if you see a developer of a game you love, go up to them and just say thank you for making that game. Like, I went up to the developer after the Shadow of War presentation. I was just like, dude, thank you so much for making Shadow of Mordor, because it was such a sick game. And like, I really hope, that helped him go through his day, because they probably got, an airplane last night to Birmingham from America. I think Monolith's American. Or Canadian, don't know. And, they had a long trip, wherever they came from probably, and showing them a 40-minute presentation on the game that's in development, so it could have crashed, could have bugged out, could have all went to pot. And like, I think saying thanks for great games is like, the game's already made, right? And you had a great time with it. So it's not like you're lying to them or anything, or like they've got anything to lose if you just tell them thanks for making the game, and it helps them get through the probable crunch period, which Shadow of War's now probably in, right? And like, I would like it if more people did that. I spoke to an indie developer called Mike Bithell. He's developed a few games, Volume and Thomas was alone, and they got a new game out as well, Subsurface something. I'm really sorry, I forgot the name. And I spoke to him because he's a really cool guy, and I knew about him. And I was like, oh yeah, so how's it going? You got a new game out, and he's telling me about his new game. And I said to him, I was like, dude, don't you think it's really weird that like, people don't all rush to developers? Like, in my eyes, they're kind of rock stars, like, Rockstar. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, if people knew that like, oh, that's the head of Rockstar or something, or like the creative director on GTA 5, they'd all be like, wow. But like, anyone who contributes to these games, like, even if they helped like make all the doors in Assassin's Creed, like, they still help the project, contribute to the. And I was just like, and he told me this story. Well, to be fair, I might not say it, but like, anyway, wait, I'll let him tell the story to his people. But he was saying about a story where like same kind of thing happened, and he was so shocked that everyone wasn't interested in talking to these developers that were available, right? And it was just so bizarre to me that more people didn't want to like go up to the developer after the presentation and be like, oh, this game looks great, because it looks great,
Yeah, it's interesting. They have a lot of developers come and talk at the careers bar.
Yeah.
Talk about how they went about, but no one really, like, people ask questions, sometimes they don't, and like, we don't really have that same interaction, because obviously I think a lot of people think it's just a day job at the end of the day, but really they put a lot of work into things, like, and I have seen, like, it's not as if we'd never do it, because I know Ken Levine being the creator of BioShock.
Yeah.
He came to EGX Res this year and he was mobbed.
Oh, really?
He told people that he was going to be around playing a few games and people were welcome to mob him, and people did.
Right.
It was brilliant.
Did he mind then? Or was
he didn't mind at all.
Oh, okay.
And actually the Overcooked talk was packed.
Right.
It was like there was
because people love Overcooked. Was he part of that panel?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
So these were the developers of Overcooked.
If he was like, I love Overcooked. Massive inspiration for a new game. No, yeah, sure.
Developers of Overcooked must have been absolutely gobsmacked, because there wasn't a single piece of floor space left. And
that's so great. Well, Shadow of War's presentation was packed
Chris
out as well.
Pratt had to like step between all of us to get the mic around the room for questions.
That's great.
I remember him being like, sorry, as he stepped in every tiny little bit of space because it was a minefield full of people. There wasn't a spare piece of space left in that, and they'd foolishly put a little room for the res sessions, and it was the most oversubscribed thing, that talk. And clearly, if Overcooked ever go back on the stage again, they'll have to be in the developer stage because people will be there.
That's so great. Yeah, and I mean, like, just lastly, executive producer on Sea of Thieves from Rare came and gave a careers chat, and I asked him a question about his role, and then I was like, yeah, by the way, dude, the game looks great. Like, just to give you a bit of optimism about it, like, me and my friends really looking forward to it, you know? Yeah. So, like, I think small things like that, like, it doesn't hurt, and I think we could do a lot more with it in the gaming culture. Yeah. But obviously, like you say, it does happen in certain games, so that's really cool. So, Roshni, last section of the podcast. Thankfully for the audio listeners. Why do they keep going on? That's cool. What are we playing? You should go first.
I'm not sure if I should go first. I'm playing so many games.
Give me some ones that are really standing out in your mind, because we haven't got long.
So I bought the Switch while I was in California this year, and I
region free.
Yeah, because it's region unlocked. So first thing I did was I bought Mr. Shifty, which is an indie game made by Team Shifty.
Excellent.
Because I think this is our first game.
I wouldn't name my developer studio from my first game. I was just going to say that, but that's cool.
No, but it's a good name.
Sure.
Team Shifty.
Yeah, it's a good name. Yeah.
Published by Tiny Build, which have published a lot of other little games before.
Sure.
And it's lovely. It's like Hotline Miami, except it's got better graphics, and you can teleport. Right. So there's no guns. You can't shoot anyone. There's no real.
But you're teleporting through walls and that.
Yeah, you're teleporting through walls. There's no. It's all melee. Right. Really. There was one time where you can throw things, like you can throw statue heads, and there was a gold disc which you can throw. On the whole, it's melee combat, and it's kind of fun, like having to teleport around and try not to get shot, because if you get shot, you're dead, and you got to restart that part of the stage.
Yeah. That part of the stage,
and I've really enjoyed it. I've like shocked myself by how fast I can get through it. And it's just so fun. There was a level I died over 60 times, and it took me 20 minutes to play it.
So it's got the difficulty of.
It's got the difficulty. Yeah. And that was really enjoyable. But I'm playing like Splatoon 2 as well.
Right.
I'm working on the story mode of that. And then I think on the PC, I'm gonna start Overwatch.
Sounds good.
Because I just bought that on discount. So I'm like, I should start playing Overwatch.
Yeah. So well, you can tell me on next podcast how that's going, because that's a massive game.
I will do.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Overwatch. Oh yeah, by the way, just to shame Roshni right now, she has a Switch and hasn't bought Zelda. Just want to put that out there for everyone.
Oh, come on.
So just want to make sure everyone knows about that. And what have I been playing? So just finished Gears 4, obviously. Just came out. No. Yeah, just finished the campaign of Gears 4, finally. Liked it quite a bit. It's in good hands. It needs to do more innovation next game, but it's in good hands, I think. The franchise. And I have just started the review of Cuphead for Red Brick Gaming. So that's exciting. Literally just bought it out of my own money to play it and review it. And it's hard as hell. Unsurprisingly.
Which is not a surprise to us, because we did actually try and play it at EGX.
Well, we did play it. Well,
we did terribly.
To be fair, that's not even the first world. I think we were in the second world or third world, so that wasn't that easy of a boss. But yeah, it was. I'll give a sneak preview of my 10-minute thoughts. Looks beautiful, plays really well. That's all I got for you. I'll give a full review later on, but it's gonna take me probably a week or two, if I'm honest. Busy week coming up, busy week end as well. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to for everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning into the 4th Red Brick Games cast. I've been Nick, and that's been Roshni. Oh, you can say hello.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Bad with the cues. Bad with the cues.
Okay, yeah, but we'll catch you in 2 weeks' time, hopefully.
Indeed.
I don't know when this is
next weekend probably, because we're trying to do it in the off weeks.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, next weekend. So this was a special. Next weekend, it's going to be every 2 weeks from next weekend, because then the paper Red Brick will be published, so we can talk about all the articles that have been in it, and it publishes next Friday, so it will be recorded that Friday, hopefully, and then published whenever I get to publishing it. I haven't got a date, maybe Monday. So, not next week, the week after the next podcast will be published. And then, whatever day we decide to publish it on, it will be every 2 weeks from that day. That sounds good.
Yep.
Nailed it. Okay. We will see you all in 2 weeks-ish time. One and a bit weeks.
Yeah, 1 and a bit weeks. We'll be back.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to get this out before the weekend, but I hope you had a really good weekend. Yeah, alright. See you all later. See you next time.